This video is brought to you by Squarespace, an incredible platform for creating stunning web presence for your business, but more on that later. I've been using the M2 MacBook Air since day one, and I seriously can't believe I'm still using it. This laptop induced so many different feelings in me in all those months: love, anger, excitement, disbelief. This has truly been a wild ride, and in this video I'll tell you how this Mac stacks up after almost, I said almost, a year of use. I will begin by rewinding the clock a little to the first minutes of opening the box. As soon as I unwrapped this laptop, I was shocked how light and thin it was. It was a totally different sensation from my 14-inch Pro. Light, portable, yet very sturdy and robust. The M2 MacBook Air was like a breath of fresh air, not too industrial and utilitarian like Pro MacBooks, and not as fashionable as the M1 MacBook Air. And now it still amazes me every day. It's a really nice laptop for some good quality time with myself. After a day of filming, editing, and doing some pro stuff, it feels really nice to switch to such a light and portable device. I can sit on a couch and watch Netflix without tiring my laps. This MacBook also makes it so easy to chill on the bed without fearing that the MacBook will overheat. It's just a thin and light piece of aluminum and glass that's pure joy to use. I also noticed that with this Mac, I started using headphones more. The speakers on the M2 MacBook Air are good, but not even close to the speakers on my MacBook Pro. The sound is not as rich and detailed, the volume is also somewhat too low to my taste. That's a good set of speakers, don't get me wrong, but it's not the best one. To remedy that problem, I started to use my AirPods more often, but there is another problem I've noticed, which is present on all MacBooks, but on the M2 Air is especially acute. There is no share audio feature. MacBooks can share audio to multiple pairs of AirPods. On MacBook Pro, this is never an issue since I mostly don't have to use headphones while chilling, but with Air, the display was another thing that made me question things. On one hand, it's a very good panel, 13.6 inches, high resolution, 500 nits of brightness, P3 color, but 60 Hz. Each time I go back to my MacBook Pro, I feel such a relief. My eyes are just too used to the high refresh rate, and this 60 Hz screen definitely bugs me, but only in terms of refresh rate. In every other category, this is a fantastic display, very bright and colorful, perfectly calibrated from the factory. Working with colors in this machine is a very pleasant experience. I'm not saying that the screen is terrible, but for the price I paid, I wish it was a little better. It's a great screen for basic users, but I just feel like it could be better. Before we go any further, let me tell you about Squarespace, the ultimate solution for creating a powerful online presence for your business. With the increasing importance of online visibility, Squarespace offers an intuitive website building platform that comes with a range of features to boost your online presence. You can say goodbye to the hassle of coding, as Squarespace simplifies the entire website building process. All you have to do is choose a category, select a template, and customize it according to your needs. It's that easy. Even if you're not tech savvy, Squarespace is designed to be user-friendly and intuitive, as anyone can build a website with it, including your grandma. If you are planning to set up an online store, Squarespace provides e-commerce options that will help you sell your products and services with ease. Additionally, the platform also comes with analytics tools that help you monitor your website's performance, giving you valuable insights to make data-driven decisions for your content and marketing strategies. Are you ready to build your dream website? You can sign up for a free trial on squarespace.com/AutoWiner and use the code AutoWiner to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. This is a great opportunity to elevate your online presence and take your business to the next level. And now let's get back to the video. More problems start to appear when you actually start doing something on this laptop. I have the bone-stock MacBook Air, 256 gigabytes of storage, M2 chip with 8 GPU cores and 8 gigabytes of unified memory, and believe me, I've seen every bottleneck there is, but let's not rush things. First, I would like to point out that the M2 Air is absolutely great at small tasks. Answering emails, browsing the web, typing documents, it does everything. You can easily launch a ton of small apps and it will run them just fine, until it won't. And that moment will happen for sure in almost every workflow, whether you're a student or a casual web enjoyer. The 8 gigs of memory fill up rather quickly. If you're using Safari, those 8 gigs will last you 15 15 to 20 tabs tops. If you're using Chrome, divide that by 2, and when you're browsing extensively, you better close background processes. I know that most of the time you won't have so many tabs opened, but still, it's better to know your limits. The worst part about this is that these slowdowns are not caused by the M2 itself. The M2 has a very admirable performance, both single-core and multi-core, and it performs really well in the graphics department. The chip itself idles most of the time, sitting at 20 to 30% load, but the 8 gigs of memory multiplied by the slow SSD, this is an explosive mix which leads to slowdowns and long loading times. I also did a fair share of testing this thing, and I know everything about its performance. I compared it to the M1 Pro 14-inch, to the M2 Pro 14-inch, and in all tests, it came out as a loser, and most of the time with a noticeable margin. But if you don't have a laptop that's almost twice the price to compare it to, the M2 Air starts to look faster and snappier. It does video editing rather well, especially if you don't have anything running in the background. Thanks to media encoders and decoders, the timeline is smooth and the playback doesn't lag that much, and the export times are fairly low for small projects. With photo editing, the situation is identical. You can edit a couple of raw photos at once without an issue, but if you're planning on working with a batch of photos, the 8 gigs of memory will make everything super slow and sluggish. The same goes for the music production. The memory fills up fast and the crashes become more and more frequent. In 3D modeling and rendering, it's not that great. Like at all. 3D is too much for it. The chip heats up and starts throttling, the memory fills up, and the SSD remains as slow as ever. You can do some light work in Blender, but don't you dare render complex scenes. Don't even get me started on that SSD. 256 gigs is an abysmally small amount of space. Installing a couple apps fills up half of the memory. Any heavy project in Premiere Pro or Final Cut will take 30 to 40 gigs. A pack of raw photos also needs space. External SSDs are not helping since transfer speeds are low. In terms of storage, this MacBook will definitely disappoint file hoarders or even students. Do you want to clear your files every now and then simply to let your Mac be somewhat responsive? I don't think so. I suppose the M2 Air can be a good choice for beginner users who don't want to spend too much money, but if you're planning to use your Mac for a couple of years while excelling your skills, you will be limited with this thing. The M2 MacBook Air will do just fine in the beginning, but will fall short in any demanding task. So again, if you want to develop your skills, better buy the MacBook Pro. The next thing has been talked about already, but I just can't ignore it. I hate Apple's keyboards. Not the keyboards themselves, but the plastic used for production. It deteriorates faster than you can say keyboard. Just look at my keyboard on the MacBook Pro. It's glossy like a mirror. On this MacBook Air, you can also see signs of wear, and you have no way of really protecting the keyboard from this wear. Silicone covers could leave marks on the display, and transparent stickers will just accumulate dirt and grime. For me, that's a hard pass. What I also noticed is how quickly the MagSafe cable becomes dirty. In less than a year, a light gray cable became dirty and dark gray-ish. I don't like that. And Apple doesn't give any instructions on how to clean the cable. I'm too afraid to use alcohol or any solvents, so I guess I will just have to deal with that. In all that time of use, I've learned to subconsciously know when I'm reaching the limits of this Mac so that it stays fast and responsive. This additional layer of thinking is not something you would experience if you get the MacBook Pro or just upgrade the memory to 16 gigs. But is there any point to upgrade the memory? I don't think so. It just isn't financially viable. The base M2 Air is sold by Apple by $11.99. Upgrading the memory to 16 gigs will set you back to $100. That's $1,400 in total. For only $140 more, you could get the 14-inch M1 Pro MacBook Pro instead. You will get a much better display, twice the storage, better speakers, and more headroom to grow. That's the smart move right there.